La Casa del Papel is considered by many of us to be the sickest bank heist drama ever. I mean, which other bank heist mastermind has a better plan than that of Professor? Well, what if I told you that there's a bank heist with a better storyline? And more interestingly, this didn't happen in a movie or TV show, but in real life in 2005. In today's video, we will explore the Banco Central Bank heist in Brazil, one of the biggest heists in history, and how this single heist sort of changed the Brazil banking security system. This all started with a man named Antonio Josevan Alves dos Reis. Antonio was a civil servant who earned just enough to survive, and he was simply tired of that life. He wanted money, lots of it, and he was going to do anything it took to get that money. Crime immediately seemed like a quick solution to his urgent problem. Antonio's job gave him access to the security system of the country's central bank, Banco Central do Brasil. As you probably guessed, this was Antonio's first target. But there was a tiny problem. He knew the security system very well, but there was no way he was going to rob a bank as huge as that on his own. Even if he tried, he was bound to get caught. So he did the first thing every amateur criminal would do: reach out to the big dogs. Antonio quickly connected with a powerful criminal couple, Barreau and his wife Carla. Then he met a certain Mineiro, Barreau's second hand. With the big dogs came an expansion of the team: burglars, engineers, lockpickers, security experts, an ex-police officer, and of course an experienced bank robber. Now, the stage was set for one of the grandest heists in human history, and it began with the creation of a fake company. In May 2005, shortly after forming the team, a new company, Grama Sintética, appeared in the Brazilian city of Fortaleza. This company was located in a quiet community right in the middle of the city, a community quite close to where the central bank is located. This company introduced itself to the members of the community as a landscaping company. A man called Sergio de Souza was introduced to the community as the owner, and according to these residents, he had the widest and kindest smile ever. So, even though this company ended up moving vans filled with sand and dirt out of the company every day, the residents just thought it was a part of their job. And they thought, Sergio is so nice and kind, that sort of guy can't be a criminal. Well, the neighbors were totally wrong. Not only was this company a front for something more sinister, Sergio was a fake name one of the criminals gave himself to fool the community. And back at the company, there really was no landscaping going on. These guys were actually digging a tunnel that was going to extend from this company to the bottom of the bank, exactly where the bank vault sits protected. Each day, for 8 hours, these criminals took turns digging the tunnel, and the engineers provided instructions. They weren't working in extreme and dangerous conditions. They installed air conditioners to make the air fresher, lights, and even foldable beds to make it habitable for resting. At the end of the day, the gang spent around $200,000 building this tunnel. But they knew too well that even though $200,000 was a lot of money, it's a tiny percentage of what they get at the bank. The tunneling finished after 3 months, and right after, the team got to work. On a Saturday, 6th of August 2005, they finally gained access to the vault. Antonio and an insider disabled the alarms, and since it was the weekend, the CCTV cameras and motion sensors were pretty much inactive. Over the course of the weekend, the team broke open the vault and moved over 300 bags of money through the tunnel, which measured around 260 feet and 28 inches. By the end of the weekend, the gang had escaped with $70 million. It was impossible to get away with that amount of money, right? Well, impossible is not quite the word. Right after the heist happened, the authorities found out and immediately launched an investigation. But the thieves were long gone, with nothing but used machines and tools in their tracks. Back at the camp of the criminals, a fight broke out. Some members began demanding for a higher percentage, and the masterminds disagreed. But before this could be settled, a shot rang out and one of the criminals was lying dead. Robbing a bank is a crazy crime, but it becomes a whole lot more complicated when there's a murder involved. But for this gang, it turned out to be something less important. Despite being smart enough to rob the bank without being noticed, they made the mistake of forgetting a phone card at the scene of the crime. And this was all the feds needed to get them. But it wasn't going to be as easy as they expected. Most of the criminals had escaped the country or moved to a different city, and this made it quite hard to trace the money. But it turns out Antonio Jusovan wasn't as smart as we thought he was. A few months after the robbery, he tried to buy 10 cars at the same time and pay with cash. Car dealerships want your money, but you can be sure they will be ringing the authorities if you decide to buy 10 cars at once with cash. Antonio was caught and instantly taken into custody. His arrest naturally led to the arrest of 26 accomplices, and the cops were able to recover around $8.8 million. This was just over 10% of the entire heist. The authorities continued their investigations, but some of the criminals still managed to evade arrest. But an even crazier twist was about to hit the remaining gang members. This heist became a local legend in several Brazilian communities, and local gang members began to claim that they personally know some of the guys involved. And this put a target on the back of the criminals. Kidnappers and rival gang members began a hunt for the bank robbers, and they eventually laid their hands on Luis Fernando Ribeiro, a 26-year-old who was a major part of the heist. As soon as Fernando was kidnapped, the group asked for $890,000 as ransom. Since Fernando was still rich from the spoils of the heist, this wasn't a problem for his family. However, as soon as the kidnappers got the money through Fernando's lawyer, he was shot to death. Remember the experienced bank robber who joined the gang? He was also arrested, helping the authorities discover an additional $13 million. Do you think this was a successful heist? Before you answer that, you should know that several key members such as Barrow are still free, and over $50 million remains missing. This was also a much-needed lesson for Brazilian banks, and we saw a major upgrade in security measures. If these upgrades were never made, who knows if another heist would have happened? Do you think a movie about this heist would be better than La Casa de Papel? We'd like to hear from you. Is this your first time around here? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss interesting videos like this one. If you learned something new in this video, let us know by hitting the like button. See you next time.